Hi, everybody. There we go. Hi, everybody. It is Tuesday, June 9th at 6:30 p.m., and I'm going to call this meeting of the Governance, Organization, and Legislation Committee of the Town Council to order. I will begin by calling on members of the committee to make sure that they can hear and be heard. Let's start with Councilor Ryan.
I'm here and I can be heard, I hope.
Yeah, we can hear you. Councilor Lord,
I'm present. Can you hear me?
Councilor Kendall Martin,
Present.
and Lynn Griesmer.
Present.
Excellent. All right, we are going to begin with public comment. We do have two attendees with us right now. If either of you would like to make public comment, you can go ahead and raise your Zoom hand, and I will call on you, and you'll have up to 3 minutes to make your public comment. Do, do, do. All right. Seeing no hands, I'm going to move on to just a quick overview of our agenda here tonight. We've got three resolutions proclamations. Then we will discuss the Resident Oversight Board a bit more. And really, the purpose of today is I am feeling a bit like we need a little more clarity on our action plan here. I'm feeling a little like we're discussing it broadly, which is fine, but we need to figure out what is going to get this committee to a yes so that we can bring the council something that they can get to a yes on as well. So we're action planning on that. It's not necessarily going to be as much content today, but figuring out what our questions are that we can send to folks. And then we are going to go into the Charter Review Committee beyond the charter recommendations. We'll do some, this is such a jammed agenda, y'all. Town Council Rules of Procedure discussion, minutes, and I promise you I don't have anything unanticipated because we don't have time for that. So um, let's start off with our resolution in support of an act enabling cities and towns to stabilize rent and protect tenants. I will put it up on the screen in 1 second. I hope everyone is having a good day. It's real warm out. And yet somehow I'm still cold in my office. Okay. So I'm gonna just resize everybody. I'll make this bigger. Hang on. Remember, we are doing clarity, consistency, and actionability right now. So let's start off. I might swap out this. It looks fuzzy to me. I'm not sure why, but I'll figure that out. All right. First, whereas.
Sometimes Word Online makes the header look a little goofy. I can fix
Oh,
it before it's
good to know.
finalized.
Thank you. Second, whereas. Sorry. I need to check something real quick. George, go ahead.
Footnotes.
Yep.
I don't like footnotes. This is not a scholarly paper, it's a resolution. So I would suggest that the sponsors consider simply incorporating the phrase Amherst Housing Production Plan or something to that effect when it's just so there's this citation rather than a footnote. I don't know what the thoughts of the others are, but I don't like footnotes.
It's in here as well already. And then the other thing is that while it shows up online, I don't know how it shows up when it's printed. Just that's my own lack of knowledge. So I'm comfortable removing the footnotes and putting the citation in the text, at least for this one so far. That's fine with me.
So
Any
we would,
objection? Lynn, did you
Um,
have something?
yeah, I was going to say, so we could just say based on our housing production plan.
It does. It does say it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean it might be helpful to say the Amherst Housing Production Plan. I mean, it's to be more specific
Mhm.
in the
Yep.
text. But I'm fine with that. I just wanted to make sure it was clear where the data was pulled from.
Appreciated. Okay. Um, Athena.
Athena has her hand up.
There's inconsistency in the capitalization after the whereases.
Yeah,
And I think our practice is to not capitalize after the whereas.
thank you. I also was trying to check on whether it's three different ways in our three proclamations today. I think that we typically don't italicize but do capitalize and bold. Is that right?
Hmm.
I'm like, how long have I been doing this?
Let me see whether I can find something.
All right, pick a good one to base it off of. Okay, let's go on while Lynn looks that up. Whereas Amherst has made progress with changes to inclusionary zoning.
So yeah, I have some thoughts on this as well.
Okay,
The whereases are in caps in bold, but not italicized.
thank you.
Yeah,
George, go
that
ahead.
sounds right.
I think what this is wanting to say is that Amherst has created an inclusionary zoning bylaw. I don't quite know what progress with changes to inclusionary zoning means. I'm not aware that we've made any changes to our inclusion. Maybe we have and I've forgotten, but it's not so much the changes, as I understand it, but the fact that by creating an inclusionary zoning bylaw, we have made it possible to generate more, quote, affordable, unquote, projects. So again, it's maybe it's a quibble, but that's kind of what we do here, at least sometimes. I would suggest language to the effect that also I prefer a single sentence, not two sentences, but that's, and obviously no footnote. Um, but having created or established an inclusionary zoning bylaw to promote affordable housing development, um, and then we have, yeah, and then we have this statistic, which I know some advocates are very fond of quoting these days when they discovered that the way the state counts or allows you to count your SHI is, I don't think it's meant to be deceptive, but it does allow for a percentage that is not exactly accurate. So there's nothing sacred about 10%. But so I think I don't know, the point seems to be that while we've made progress by creating this inclusionary zoning bylaw, and then it'd be nice if somebody actually mentioned how many units have been created. There've been a substantial number. Nonetheless, housing in Amherst remains unattainable for many, would be the point I would be making. If people want to include the 11.86% and it's actually only 7%, I'm not sure that's actually accurate, but maybe that is what the housing production plan people came up with. So I guess that's as good a number as any. They can, but anyway, that's my 2 cents.
George, could you read that one more time so that I can type it in and we can look at it?
Well, I think the sponsors need to respond. I mean, I think it's a question of what they're trying to say. I think they do want to make the point that we actually have made progress by creating an inclusionary zoning bylaw.
Yeah.
And it would be nice if somebody, I don't have the numbers anymore, I used to have them, mentioned how many units we've actually created.
I agree. I'm trying to visualize it because there was a lot, you said a lot of good stuff. And so I still do want, I think Councilor Cannon Martin's our sponsor representative right now, and I do want to hear from her on that, but I just wanted to get it on the screen so we had something to discuss.
Well,
You're saying whereas despite creating
yeah, despite creating an inclusionary zoning bylaw, which has resulted in X number of affordable units over the last how many years it's been in place, nonetheless, housing in Amherst remains unattainable. Maybe they want a separate whereas that makes the point that the SHI is somewhat deceptive. I don't really find that particularly a crushing point, but some people do. So anyway, the two together, I don't quite see how they fit together. One's progress and the other's sort of like, and look at this strange
Yeah,
figure.
I would be supportive of making another whereas at where it says, we can get rid of that Amherst has made progress on and then put whereas Amherst has,
Yeah, you can make the point, which is true, that
yeah.
11.86% is housing stock in the SHI, but in reality, less than 7% is truly
Yeah.
affordable. I would argue that a lot of even that is not truly affordable, but that's a whole nother argument for another day.
Yeah, and then we can just okay.
I don't know.
So
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I realized we have it in two places here, so we
Right.
still have this part in two places, so we just kind of need to workshop that a little bit. I'm gonna grab a seltzer, I'm listening, but I'll just need to get really quick.
So you
Yeah.
could have two whereases, Amber, or you could just drop one, or you could keep it as it is and ignore my thought. But um, it's really up to the sponsors whether you want two, whether you want one. I do think that combining the two together makes it somewhat confusing. It's two different points,
Mhm.
I think. So anyway,
Yeah, I think so. If we leave the third whereas as it is, and then do like a semicolon, and the next whereas Amherst has 11.86 of its housing stock listed, and then we can get rid of that despite these positive developments, and then just do like a semicolon. Yeah, there you go.
Got it? Okay. All right.
and I think the point, I think it will, I will look at what you put up there, but I think the point you want to keep no matter what is that nonetheless, Amherst remains, its housing in Amherst remains unattainable for many people.
Yeah, I think we have that in the third whereas.
Elsewhere, okay,
Yeah.
fine. Fine.
Did you want to point to the recent changes in the inclusionary zoning bylaw? Because that did happen fairly recently and just in October of last year.
What did we change? I can't even remember. Did
I
we?
was gonna say I don't recall that either.
Yeah,
I'm ashamed to
there was
say
an
I don't recall it
amendment.
either. Yeah.
Yeah, there was an amendment to the inclusionary zoning bylaw in October of last year
Hmm.
um, about the payment amounts.
Right. It was, I felt, yeah, it wasn't a major change, but it did, yeah, it was a small change.
But there was something in the original language about recent
Yes,
changes
right.
to
That
the
did get
inclusionary
changed.
zoning.
You're right. You're right. You're right. But I think, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because I know that we had an inclusionary zoning um bylaw in existence, and there was some talk about updating it. I just wasn't sure what the updates were.
Yeah, I once had the number actually of units that have been created as a result of it, and it was, it was substantial. I mean, and I'm sure it's gotten a little bit bigger, and it will get bigger once the unit that you drive is finished. I think it is a positive development, and it'd be nice to tell people actually how many units have been created. But in spite of that, right?
Yeah, and I think also some of that money, my understanding is that well, as you were saying, that sometimes the developer will pay out as opposed to creating the units. So it goes into, it goes into the Affordable Housing Trust or
Right,
whatever,
right,
but it
right.
doesn't necessarily translate into number of units created.
That's happened once, actually, I believe only once.
All right,
But
I'm
yeah.
gonna rein us in because we got a huge agenda here.
Sorry.
Nope, you're doing great. Do you want to add language about the recent amendments? So we have, whereas despite creating an inclusionary zoning bylaw, which has resulted in an increase in affordable housing units, housing in Amherst remains unattainable for many. We could say, despite creating an inclusionary zoning bylaw, which has resulted in an increase in affordable housing units, and with continued amendments, improvement, like I'm not sure what language you want to put in there.
I mean, I don't find it necessary to mention that.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's,
Perfect.
I think we said enough about it, so.
All right. So let's go on to whereas Amherst market rental prices. Market rate. Fair market or market rate?
That's a
It
good
makes
question.
me think that we're renting a market, so I'm not sure.
Yeah, maybe we should just get rid of the word market.
Yes.
That makes more sense to me.
Or you want to get rid of the footnote.
Yeah, I think in some cases, if you do, which I wish you would, but that's just me, you're going to have to, I mean, it probably makes sense to mention again, the Amherst
Yeah.
Housing Production
So
Plan
the one
and
at the bottom, that was actually from something else. That was from the Amherst
Community Voices. Yeah.
Community Voices on Affordable Housing.
So
I guess you
yeah.
could say the Amherst Community Voices on Affordable Housing report, or that's what was linked down there.
Yes,
Yep.
that's what I would recommend, something like that.
Okay.
So I think in the next one, it would just be also getting rid of the footnote again.
Yep, that would be what I would, yeah.
As long as you guys aren't going to call me out and say I didn't cite my source.
No, I think you're right to want to cite it. It's just, and I'm one vote, but I just think it looks better and
Yeah,
reads better if it's in the text. But, um, yeah, that's
yeah,
all.
I'm cool with that.
Okay.
Plan should be capitalized.
Sorry, am I mathing incorrectly? Is this 39%? Did someone do that math for me? That's so finicky, I know, but I'm just,
I'll check it out.
We have to check their math too. Come on. Okay,
Let me check the report and see if maybe there was a
sure.
typo.
I think, okay.
Yeah, that's not what I'm getting.
It's not what I'm getting either, right? Okay.
Yeah, 40% would be roughly what,
1,700.
480 something dollars.
Yeah, it ended up being like 1,700.
Yeah, so that's
Um,
good. But
all right, so
I just take the percentage out.
yeah, I mean, Amber, I guess if we were to take one or the other out, would you rather keep the percentage or keep the dollars?
Yeah, sorry, I'm just trying to look at the notes from the report to see if I can see where it says that.
Okay,
It
of course.
it might have been so Allegra is one of the community sponsors and she helped run the session, so she might have pulled that from her notes.
Yeah, totally.
I
We
mean,
could,
I'm happy to strike that entire whereas if you want, because I don't want to risk like putting the wrong thing.
yeah. Um,
So this was reported as somebody at the session.
Yeah, I'm guessing that she took that from the notes that she took at the session. So there might be an error. There is an error. So
okay, I'll strike it for now, and then if you come up with something different by the time we're at the end, you can let me know.
okay.
Um, okay.
There's
Where
another footnote.
I know I'm getting there. Okay.
And then the lowercase r in residence.
Thank you. Good to move on.
Hmm.
so where are we now? Where are we?
Whereas predatory investors.
All right, so I have some thoughts on this one too, but I'm not sure the line between clarity, consistency, and actionability and content is I'm not very good at drawing it. I really don't. Predatory, I guess that's a certain class of investors. So there are some investors are good investors and some investors are predatory investors. Um, so there are lots of investors, or there are investors who do buy into the market in order to make a profit. That in itself doesn't strike me as predatory. It just strikes me as what people do in order to make a profit. So I would suggest, but this is really maybe more content now, that you just take out predatory and just make the claim that investors are increasingly, which I'm not sure that's true too, but maybe it is, that they're increasingly buying properties in Amherst in hopes of profiting from the high demand. That is a true statement, or at least arguably true. Predatory investors, I mean, it seems unnecessary sort of, what's that accomplishing? And does that then mean that they're also good investors that are, I don't know. So that first thought is I would love to see that word stricken, but um, then the second thing is what's wrong with an LLC? I mean, it's a way of doing, of putting an LLC in and of itself is neither good nor bad and proves, to my mind, doesn't prove much of anything. Um, so, uh, but again, that's maybe content. So,
Athena?
Our practice is usually the council's practice is usually just to put one sentence in each whereas clause, and this I think has three. So
that would be another point. Yes.
I'm trying to think just, like what is the clause trying to say, and can it be said in
Right.
Yeah, so I guess I can clarify that. So I think that what we're trying to get at here is that the fact that there is such a high demand is causing the rents to be high, and to purchase a home for the express purpose of, renting it out to make the most profit possible is kind of what's resulting from that. So there's a high profit motive to buy some of these homes that they could be affordable housing, but because the rents are so high, there's an incentive to buy it and rent it out.
So why don't we just say something like, whereas investors in, investors buy properties in Amherst in the hopes of profiting from high demand rental markets.
Sorry, Lynn, could you say that again? It was a little quiet.
Just, it's because my allergies are so out of control. It's
No,
ridiculous.
I understand.
So just whereas investors buy properties in Amherst. I don't know that it's increasingly. It's
Yeah, I don't know either, but yeah.
buy They just
But I
buy
didn't write
properties.
this, so yeah.
Buy properties in Amherst in the hopes of profiting from the high demand rental market.
Yeah, I mean it's up and down. It's not only increasing.
But I think Lynn's question is really, and it's for the sponsors, Amber's just answered it, so maybe we should just let her sort of restate it and you can write that down. But what is the point of this? And the point, I guess, is that because demand is so high, there are people who enter the market and purchase single family homes or flip them and turn them into rentals, and they make a tidy profit. And the market is attractive to that, has been attractive. Actually, it's been attractive to that for the last 20 years. I've traced this over the last 20 years, and this has been going on for some time. And a fair number of the people who've taken advantage of it are residents of Amherst. Some of the largest owners of single, two-family, three-family homes that have been flipped over the last 20 plus years are fine, upstanding citizens of our town. And I'll spare you the names at this meeting, but the idea that somehow that it's LLCs are the problem, I think that also doesn't make any sense. I find it's just confusing.
I
But
think
yeah, go
that
ahead, Em. I'm
I
sorry.
mean, I think so. The point we're trying to get across, though, is that the rent is too high. If I could summarize, I would say the rent is too high. And this is trying to capture this particular part of this particular piece of the puzzle, which is that we have, these homes that are being purchased either by a private owner or by an LLC for the purpose of renting out at extremely high rents, right? Like extremely high cost rentals. I don't know how much a bedroom is going for these days, but it's incredibly expensive. So
Right.
that's the piece of it that we're trying to get at here. I don't think it's a judgment on anybody, actually. It's just describing, part of what's going on. This is part of it. It's not all of it, part of it.
hmm hmm
And, I'm sure like I only own one property. But if I had the money, maybe I would want to buy a property and rent out, right? I don't know, right? But then if there was rent control, then that wouldn't be so attractive to me. And maybe I'd want to sell that house to a low income family who needs, who needs a home.
Can we make sure the whereas stays all in
Yeah,
one vision? All right, thank you.
I'm gonna just enter down because it's the page break is hard. I
Thank
don't know
you.
why this is split, but it is right now.
I don't think you're saying due to the high demand. You're not saying the high demand of what?
I
Rent- High rental demand.
Yeah, it's a high
Yeah.
rental.
I mean, I'm sorry, I know that, but it doesn't
Well,
say that.
due to the high demand rental market. I mean, it's down below.
All right, someone tell me what to write because I'm lost here.
Rental market.
No, I got that far, but the rest of the paragraph here. We've got a lot of sentences. Amber, as the sponsor here, what do you feel? Do you want all of this in there, or is there a way that you would like to pare this down?
Um, I guess I would say, I mean, let's definitely keep the first sentence.
I think I've gotten it. I've written it in a way that is now a bit redundant.
Yeah,
Uh,
I don't think we need to say high demand rental market twice, but
yeah,
in the hopes of, I think, in the hopes of profiting from the high demand, right? Because there's a high demand for,
In
places to
hopes of turning a profit.
due to the rental market.
of profiting from the high demand
Of profit.
for
Yeah,
for
right. There we go.
rentals.
That's good.
Yeah, and the point seems to be in that, you want to argue that that then excludes people from getting into the market. Makes it very difficult, if not impossible, um, uh, for people who don't own homes to get into the market because these folks are buying these properties up and making a good sum just using them as rentals. So
Right.
again, it's the point that it makes them, a fact about our housing market, which is true, that has a harmful effect on first-time home buyers, or really anybody, but particularly first-time home buyers who like to get into the market because they just can't compete.
So does it make sense to just say due to the rental market, investors buy residential properties and
And,
price out home buyers?
and often price out home buyers. Or and periodically, because now I'm going to get to the 5.6%. And then I think somehow or another we see. I think what you really wanted to say there, therefore, in the are this, I don't know how we're going to blend the sentences, but just 5.6% of residential sales between 2019 and 2023 were purchased for rental purposes of residential sales. So, in other words, get rid of the corporations or LLCs, investors, whatever, and the one above too.
I'm just gonna make a suggestion.
So,
I would,
resulting, so,
yeah.
comma, but home buyers, comma, resulting
One
in.
moment, one moment.
See, I think we've gone so far beyond what the data can supply.
Yeah, I think this is
I
problematic. It's very
really,
problematic. And the data is confusing and the data is controversial and the data can be looked at a lot of different ways. And LLCs in and of themselves don't necessarily mean much other than the fact that many of them are not owner occupied. But so what? Um, so and yeah, maybe the sponsors want to go back and rethink it. Maybe they just want to leave it the way it is. I'm not sure we can fix it at this point beyond
Yep.
the
The word
statement
home
up
buyers.
above. The statistics I think are very questionable and it's not clear what they mean. Really.
Is it, if we wanted to make a change to it before the next council meeting, is there a possibility to do that before the meeting?
So, GOL could choose to not vote it clear, consistent, and actionable, and you could ask Mandy to put it on a council agenda without GOL review. Is there a council meeting that you were targeting for this initiative?
Yeah, yeah. So we were targeting the next council meeting. I mean, I think with the idea of getting it voted today. So, I mean, I would be happy to take out the part with the statistics in it and just leave, the whereas the first sentence. If
So
that's,
ending with the word home buyers.
if it's too confusing.
I mean, I think that is a true statement. I mean, it's a statement and arguably could be defended. I don't think you necessarily have to provide statistics, but
Semi
I don't think
Maybe
anyone.
can we just put due to the competitive rental market or to the high demand?
Yes, well, so high demand is here, so I
Mhm.
can say competitive here
Yeah,
too. Is that
yeah.
Counselor
Okay.
Counselor Kano
that-
Martin asked a question, and I was hoping to answer it. I have a hand up for a second.
oh, I'm sorry.
Counselor Kano Martin, you asked if changes can be made prior to the meeting. I think the thing that makes the most sense is for this committee to make changes that make it clear, consistent, and actionable. And then if you have amendments that you'd like to add that you think will strengthen it, then you can bring those on Monday.
Okay.
Thanks, Athena.
All right, so whereas the town of Amherst acknowledges.
The word the needs to be.
I know, yeah. Amber, can you direct me to, there was no footnote here, where was this in the housing production plan too, where we talk about rent control being a tool? The town talks about rent control being a tool.
Let me check the original. Sorry.
No problem.
Um, yeah, I'm not sure where that one came from. I can find out and update it.
Because I think the only thing that the reason why it matters to me, the reason why I'm bringing it up is that I read the sentence that the town of Amherst acknowledges rent control is one of the tools, along with strategic development, that we need to employ to build and maintain housing affordability. I just want to make sure. I can't recall the town taking that stance. That does not mean it hasn't happened, but I just want to make sure that we're clear on that.
Okay, let me find out. Can I let you know by the end of the meeting?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we can come back to this.
Okay.
Did you say you weren't sure that Amherst acknowledged that that was a tool?
The question is whether or not you can find this in a document from Amherst.
This could be the document.
Yeah, that's true. So if this is the statement, then I think that would be then I would move it down to maybe a now therefore, but yeah, you're right. This could be the time that we are making that statement. I still think that it would be a now therefore, or be it resolved or whatever. But yes, that is absolutely, you're correct. That makes sense. Okay, Amber's going to follow up on that one to see if it already exists or if this is the statement that we are making for this resolution.
Why don't you put a note there with a
Um,
comment?
a lot of feedback today, people. This is a chatty group this day and time.
George did warn me in advance.
All right. Whereas rent control,
Sorry, Anna.
yes, yes.
Apologies. So, I am texting with Allegra. She said it's from the 2023 listening session.
Which one?
The community voice, the one that we were talking about, the community voices,
This paragraph is?
the one about the multi-pronged strategy. Yeah, the 2023 listening session.
So it should say something, not the town of Amherst, but that from during the 2023, whatever it's called, session,
Well,
people
depends on who said it.
acknowledged that, or people mentioned that that
Well, okay, I'm gonna hang on 1 second. So, Amber, just to clarify, was it something that a member of the town said during that session, or was it something like,
Yeah, I'm asking.
okay, sorry. And again, it's not, we can shift this to be in the now therefores too. Um, let's try to push forward just because it's already 7:10.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So whereas rent control was banned,
I would just say by the 1994 statewide ballot question, um,
It is true that a majority of people in Amherst supported the continuation of rent control.
exactly. But even though, so while it was banned, a majority of Amherst voters supported the continuation of rent control. Or you could just say, but anyway, you can keep it as it is. But I thought by the aggregate of Massachusetts voters, just seemed a bit kind of, but yeah, whatever. It's not horrible, it's just kind of wordy.
so George is proposing it read it like this.
That was the suggestion.
comma, although Amherst voters.
It doesn't need a comma, although, but because this is the way that it was rewritten, but if we would like to rewrite that. Because I added while at the top.
That's, oh,
Mhm.
got it. I'm sorry. Of course, that takes care of it. Don't worry about it. Thank you.
Okay. Whereas
Mhm.
rent control was a popular theme.
Yep. No footnote.
No footnote. We got the reference in there.
Thank you.
Whereas Michelle Wu, Boston City Council.
Actually, does the mayor actually vote?
Oh,
I think.
what
I don't
Yeah,
know.
she does.
is
She
this
does vote? All right.
Yeah.
She gets a vote. All
focus,
right.
please? I will
Sorry.
make us go to hand raising.
Just a question.
Raise your hand. Amber, is this helping? Is this paragraph? Never mind. I'm getting into substance. Doesn't matter. Oh no,
It's for
Relevant.
it's for context of how this
Okay.
began.
All
Yeah.
right. Whereas the current Massachusetts statute contribute. I don't like the phrasing so that um meaning, I guess.
I just take that out.
I think we could say whereas as the current Massachusetts statute currently,
And
hang on, there's too many currents too. Whereas as the current Massachusetts statute, there we go. Prohibits rent control, Amherst cannot address this problem without legislative action on the state level. We don't need an and, it's the last one.
oh no, I mean rent control, comma, and
Oh,
instead of so that.
thank you. No. We could either do that or get rid of the as.
Oh,
So,
sorry.
whereas as the current Massachusetts statute prohibits rent control, Amherst cannot address this problem without legislative action on the state level.
Yep.
You're really trying to mess with my head today, I swear. Okay.
I have a question.
Go ahead, Lynn.
Um, are you supporting the ballot question? Or are you supporting the House, the bill?
It's the bill,
Okay.
not the
So
ballot question.
it's not the ballot question. Okay.
Yeah.
And um, well, I think that the comment by Mayor Wu, or the issue with Mayor Wu, is important. My understanding is that it's mostly been on the ballot question that she and the governor have split their positions. So I didn't know whether it was also true on the legislation. I'm sorry, excuse my voice.
Yeah, my understanding is that that was the genesis of this
Okay.
becoming a bill.
Ah,
Was they
got it.
wanted to-
Okay.
and I also I have an answer to the question that you had about the sourcing of the.
Awesome.
Yeah, so I think that would be, I think we would say not the town of Amherst, but that what Lynn said, that in the listening session, it was, you know, residents acknowledged, or residents is, stated that a multi-pronged strategy must be employed. Because we don't have attribution to a single person, unfortunately.
How's that?
Yeah, I think that looks good.
Did that get there? Okay. Lynn?
Go to the very top.
Very tippy top?
Way.
Yeah, you want the House bill in there?
Yes,
Yep. One
because
second.
because of the fact that this is coming out at the same time as the ballot question.
All right. I know it's not centered, but it will be. Athena?
I think I have three things. There's a Senate bill too, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was wondering if there's an.
Yeah, there's also a Senate bill.
Yeah, the number is down there
Yeah,
as
it's right here. Sorry.
1,447.
Got it.
And then
Usually
I have a
you
couple other
cite
things.
Senate first, but it's up to you.
Okay, Athena, what else you got?
Um, one quick note that we have used footnotes in the past, just to
I know.
note that.
Okay.
The other thing is, I think it's the last whereas as the current Massachusetts
I like
statute, I don't
that.
think you need as, whereas the current statute. I don't think you need as. And then
If we take that out, then we do need to add something before Amherst.
How about
I
whereas?
just say as, I mean, and whereas the current statute prohibits rent control.
I mean, you're not wrong. I prefer
Whereas as is so weird.
I
Yes, it
know.
is.
I prefer
And
it
then
the other way because it is due to the first part that the second part is true.
But
Yeah,
whereas
Not
because the current
Yeah.
because.
And then I have a suggestion for the be it further resolved. The way we normally phrase that is that the clerk of the town council shall cause this resolution to be submitted to, and then we list the elected folks in order of, kind of governor, senator, representative, mayor. And then it's clerk of the Amherst Town Council, not town clerk.
Oh, yeah.
And usually we
Or
say Governor Healy and Vice and Lieutenant
Anna,
Governor.
make all these changes all at the same time.
I'm going. Okay.
Shall
Clerk of the
cause
council shall cause is it shall cause a copy or shall cause copy?
shall cause this resolution to be submitted to Governor Maura Healy and so on. Kind of in order of
Yeah. Amber, do you want to send it to the lieutenant governor? Or are you gonna make me try to spell lieutenant correctly?
No, I'm okay with just the governor.
All right. Who
and
do
then Attorney General.
would
We should
next?
name the names if we're going to name
Yep.
one.
Two L's, right?
Yep.
I think there's a P in there.
Campbell, not Campbell. Yeah.
Yes.
Is that right?
It's Campbell.
Bell.
Oh my God, what is
B-E.
wrong with me? Thank you. Then who's next? Joe, right? Is who anybody else on here?
Yes, Joe Comerford and then Mindy Dome and then the mayor of Boston.
Hmm. Okay. All right. Okay. So we got a couple edits in. Oops. We're good with our edits here. Are there any that people need to revisit?
Did we resolve that one that we put a little footnote by?
We did.
Okay.
Mm.
Then I move that we declare this clear, consistent, and actionable.
All right. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, I'm going to, oh my God, I didn't get my report ready. I knew I forgot something. I'm going to call the vote. Lynn Griesmer,
Aye.
Counselor Cannon Martin,
Aye.
Counselor Ryan,
Aye.
Counselor Lord,
Aye.
and I am an aye as well. All right, I just got to make a note of it. I'm sorry, give me 1 second, and then we'll move on to the next. Okay. All right. Next up, let's go right to banned book weeks. Oh my God, banned book week. Eesh. Sorry, I need to finish my report, otherwise I never send it in. Lynn made that motion. Amber seconded it. Okay. George, start us off.
So I'm wondering why this is before us when the event that it is highlighting is not until October. Doesn't it seem a bit premature? Can we hold this? I mean, why is it being done now when it should be done in September, it seems to me. But maybe that doesn't matter.
So I think that the reason why we are seeing this now is that Counselor Haneke is planning far ahead. We can hold it. There isn't necessarily, we don't have a rule that it has to be within a certain, X number of days.
So she could hold on to it and put it on an agenda at some future date, but it's already been
would.
cleared by us. Is that the idea?
Yeah.
Okay. It seems if it gets voted this week or next month, that's fine, but no one's going to notice because when October rolls around, no one's going to go back and reread this. So anyway,
We'll still read it at the event.
Right. Okay. Right. All right.
Great. Athena?
I think one of the reasons we wanted to, or the sponsor wanted to get this in front of GOL and the council a little early was because the intention is also for the trustees to vote on it. And I think the expectation was that the council would probably tinker with it a little bit more and then the trustees would agree with the council version. We'd like both bodies to vote on the same version. And so we just want to make sure there's time for that to go through both bodies.
Thank
And
you.
that little edit down at the bottom, trustees of the, is something that I added with the sponsors agreement.
Perfect. Okay, thank you. That margins were driving me nuts. Lynn?
I appreciate the sentiment, totally agree with this, but it sounds like we're supporting a banned book week.
Well, it's declaring October, what is it, 4 through. We are supporting a banned book week. That's what the event is called,
Okay.
where you read banned books. Okay, I'll deal with that after.
It is a little interesting title. I mean, it could be read. It could be read
That's
two
why
I mean,
I'm
different
saying.
ways.
I think that's the point, right? Like that's
I
what,
know. Yeah.
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 All right.
But
So,
that's the sponsor. So yeah. Yeah.
um, Pam, Rooney, and I have had already added ourselves to this, but Mandy had already sent me the draft. So, whereas the freedom to read,
Yep.
whereas privacy is essential. I'm sorry, Lynn, is your hand up for a new?
No.
Okay, good. Whereas privacy is essential,
Yep.
whereas the freedom to read is protected by our Constitution,
Yep.
whereas some individuals, groups, and public authorities whereas both governmental intimidation and the fear of censorship, whereas every silencing whereas Americans still favor whereas intellectual freedom uh, whereas the American Library Association whereas banned book.
Lynn, is it a legacy hand?
No, it's
Oh,
like
I'm sorry, Lynn.
at the end is fine. Don't worry. Go ahead.
Okay. Thanks, Athena. Whereas Banned Books Week now therefore ah sorry, Lynn, go ahead.
I'd like to suggest that the first and third whereas could be combined into a very powerful one. First opening statement.
Yeah.
Whereas the freedom to read is essential to our democracy and protected by our Constitution, or just protected by our Constitution and reading, and then just get rid of that third one.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Athena, I messed up your pretty lines, but I'll fix them.
I usually I fuss with the formatting to make it fit it on one sheet once we're done anyhow. So don't worry too much about the spacing and everything.
Okay. Just don't make me have 0.5 margins on this again. All right. I will move to find the Town of Amherst proclamation declaring October 4th through 10th as Banned Books Week 2026. Is there a second?
Second, Griesmer.
All right, go ahead and call the vote. I am an aye. Counselor Kinder Martin,
Aye.
Counselor Lord,
Aye.
excellent. Counselor Ryan,
Aye.
Lynn Griesmer.
Aye.
All right, great.
When
Passes.
is the actual reading?
October 5th
At
at 5:32.
Got it.
All right, friends, we got one more. Um,
I'm actually also a signature on this one.
great.
Hey, Anna, can I ask you a question?
Absolutely.
If more people want to join as a sponsor to the rent control resolution, can I send them to you and add them before the meeting, or would I have to do that at the council meeting?
I think you'd have to do it at the council meeting, but I will defer to Athena for questions on that, maybe. Athena, that would be a council meeting one, right? Because our job is really just the clarity, consistency, actionability, and once we send it back, send it back.
I believe we've added people as co-sponsors after GOL review. I don't think that's, a substantive change. So
But do
I would
I
just
do it or does
no, you don't do it because once the GOL votes it, then it's kind of back in the council's court.
Yeah.
So if there are any further changes, then I can add those and just make it clear because it would be this committee voted unanimously to recommend or to declare it clear, consistent, and actionable. So it would be on consent agenda. So we would just note that when it's voted on consent agenda that there was one change.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that.
All right. We got one more. Sorry, I'm just trying to get ahead of it a little bit. Town of Amherst 250th celebration of the Declaration of Independence proclamation. Lynn and Athena.
Oh, I'm sorry, I don't have my hand up.
Oh, okay. Athena? You're muted. You might be doing dishes. Okay.
Sorry, I had a change down at the bottom. You had scrolled down to the bottom, and so I was reading that.
Oh yeah.
It's now, comma, therefore, comma, comma, the Amherst Town Council, comma, do hereby proclaim.
Yep.
But not in bold.
It's just the now, therefore that's in bold.
Yep, I know. God, you
Okay.
guys.
Sorry.
We're gonna have to deal with that because it doesn't grammatically really make sense anymore, but we'll get there when we get there. Let's start at the beginning. Counselor Kenna Martin, please don't start at the end. Do you have something?
My comment is on paragraph 3. Sorry.
Okay, I will allow that. That is fine. Go ahead.
No,
Paragraph 3 or whereas 3?
The whereas 3. I'm just wondering if all those mistakes are just because they were bad spellers, like in 1776.
I think that was the original spelling of the vote in 1776,
Well,
but I don't think Great Britain was one word.
Right, thank you.
Yeah, so they spelled independent wrong, and they spelled transmitted wrong in instructions.
Let me look it up.
All right, Lynn's gonna check that. Thank you.
Great Britain was a 4-letter word back then.
I was about to say maybe they wanted to spell it wrong.
And if we're so independent, why did we spell honorable with a U?
That's the old British way. You still spell it
Still
that way.
figuring it out.
They still
All right.
spell it that way.
Let's continue while Lynn looks that up.
Why is it bolded? Should it just be
I did not.
italicized?
I just unbolded it.
Well, thank you. Or just regular text, but not bolded. Thank you.
Yep. Whereas less than 1 month later.
Okay.
I feel like it shouldn't be that. It should be stating. Right?
Way they wrote it.
Whereas less than 1 month later, the official declaration was first read and promulgated across the colonies, stating that,
we, okay.
right? We don't
I
solemnly.
would keep to that.
I did. I just added stating.
Okay.
Am I wrong? What? Tell me why I'm wrong.
I don't think you need stating. I think it's fine the way it is.
But it's
Yeah.
all right. Less than 1 month later, the official declaration was first read and promulgated across the colonies that we, therefore, the representatives.
The U should be capitalized.
Huh?
The U of United.
It's a quote, so I want to.
You think maybe it should be left alone? Okay.
I
That
don't
would,
know.
that would seem to be a typo, but maybe not. United is used
I
as
get
an
stressed
adjective
about
there.
things
That
like
is true.
hang
Yep.
on.
I think we have to leave it alone.
I
Yep.
want to Google the whole dang
Who
quote.
knows?
Look, they
It's
were.
also United Colonies. Yep. Okay. Okay.
Uh,
War and peace are capitalized. I like that. And alliances and commerce. Yeah. And things.
the text was reviewed and corrected by Thomas Jefferson, Benjamin Franklin, and John Adams, so it had multiple reviewers.
I think that's pretty impressive. Maybe we should just leave
And
it be.
let me just tell you, because of that, it's hard to follow it to find on Google.
Counselor Kendall Martin?
Are we on the next paragraph yet?
We are.
Okay. So the part where it says altering forever the lands of Native Americans, I think we should rethink that. Because if we want to be accurate, we should say stealing. And I know this is intended to be a celebratory proclamation, but I don't think that's a fair word to use.
I fully agree. I also, yeah, yeah. Um, I'm trying to think through. Generally, I feel like
Yeah.
this paragraph contains a lot of things that could be expanded upon. It's grouping a whole lot into one, a whole lot of history into one sentence.
Yeah, and I do think that there are folks in the community that might be negatively impacted by, I mean, including the other parts that you mentioned too, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, we could remove it. That would be one thing, one way to approach it. But I mean, I also don't want to make those groups invisible either. So
Yeah. Okay. So,
I'm trying to figure out where this quote came from.
I'm also thinking, Amber, like staying within our clarity, consistency. I don't think it's clear. That's my tie-in on this paragraph, is that I don't think that this is clear or consistent necessarily with history. So whereas the War for Independence lasted 5 more years, uh, um, I mean, what if we said, I'm not a sponsor here, so I'm brainstorming here, so no bad ideas in a brainstorm. Saying a new whereas that's like, whereas the harms caused.
I think we're trespassing at this
We're
point.
trespassing.
I
Okay,
think,
okay.
well, I think we need the sponsors to weigh in. I think if you feel strongly that the language here is problematic, you need to highlight it and ask the sponsors to, consider it. But for us to change it, I think beyond just minor little edits is getting into content, and at the very least, they should be consulted. So.
well, Lynn, I know you're here. Do you have any thoughts on
Well,
how we could,
I'm trying to track the whereas.
where did it come from?
I did find
It's-
the 1776 thing.
Okay.
If that's what you were looking for, I found it.
Yes, that was. In the word instruction, independent, honorable, and transmitted. Can you find it?
Sorry, I was trying to think about other language here.
Yeah.
Where,
Um,
Yeah.
so that quote, it was voted capital that, capital T that, should the capital H honorable with a U, Congress capitalized C, comma, for the safety of the united, not capitalized, colonies capitalized in America, colon, capital D, declare them independent with a capital I of the kingdom, capital K, of Great Britain, capital GB, semicolon, capital W, we, the inhabitants, capitalized, of the town of Amherst, town is not capitalized, Amherst is, solemnly engage with our lives and fortunes to support them in the measure, hyphen, or M dash, capital A, and that this resolve, capital R, be transmitted to our representative, capital R, in General Assembly, capital GA, as instructions to him.
How is
tell
transmitted
me if
spelled?
the spelling of independent, transmitted, and instructions is correct.
INDEPENDANT.
Yeah, it seems like we got it then. Transmitted is
Transmitted,
also one.
TRANSMITED,
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
INSTRUCTONS.
Look
Yep.
at that accuracy.
Okay.
I feel like we should have expected this from the Amherst Historical Society to have
Yeah.
their book pretty clear. All right, so the only two, we got two little things left. I tried to say forcibly claiming forever the lands of, some people might argue
I
some.
think you're getting, I really think the sponsors have to be consulted.
All right.
Yeah.
I would
Maybe they'll say fine, but that's not what they wrote. And I think they need to be consulted. And there's a lot of sponsors, so
yeah.
I wish them the best of luck sorting through this. But I
But
don't think we can't rewrite it for them.
Okay.
hold
I
on,
will,
hold on.
I'm gonna go to Athena's hand and then I'll come back. Athena,
Sorry, go ahead.
I think people just wanted time to reread.
I like the change.
You don't have track changes on.
You're right. I
I
didn't
was
make.
trying to see what you had changed, and I
I
was
took out the
getting
change.
confused.
There is no change here.
Okay.
Yes, no, there is. You took out, there was
I
something.
took out the change. I said,
Yeah.
I had said something in here, but I took it out. This is the original language.
So is the objection to altering the lands of Native Americans?
Yeah, if I can summarize what I think Councilor Kenna Martin was saying, and I agree with her, it's that is putting it lightly or mildly. And it wasn't altering so much as it was removing from their ownership
Yeah.
forcibly.
Yeah. I mean, I think,
I agree with you. I'm just trying to figure out how to resolve it, and I'm only one of the many sponsors.
I think the sponsors have to talk about it and make a decision. I don't think we can make it for them.
I think in my mind, it wasn't clear, nor was it consistent with history, but I can understand that is a stretch of the clarity, consistency, actionability. Athena?
I think this, thank you. I think this committee weighs in on matters of fact on a regular basis as part of its review, and the fact is that they were forcibly removed. So I don't see a problem with that being part of the review of clarity, consistency, and actionability. So if the committee feels one way and that's the way they vote, and any one individual or two individuals feel a different way, then that's what amendments are for. So
So what
changes
were you-
can be made after this committee's review. But if the committee feels that it's more accurate, then I think that that's an appropriate change for this committee to make as part of its clarity, consistency, and actionability review.
this was what
I'm fine with that.
Is it, sorry, would it be forcibly removing Native Americans from their lands?
claiming ownership of. Does that feel better?
Yeah, I'm just wondering about the part where we mention African Americans because I do wonder, what was the role of African Americans in the, and Native Americans in the Revolutionary War and if, like our community, we have folks in our community who, do study that history and who are very involved and, maybe have, they can trace their ancestry back to that. And I just want to make sure that we're accurately reflecting their experience and as well and not glossing over something, do you know what I mean?
There were absolutely, oh, sorry, go ahead, Counselor Ryan.
Is my hand up?
Yeah, okay. So I think that without getting into the deepest history, there absolutely were African American and Native American folks involved in the Revolutionary War in that broadest sense. Like I think that we know this as part of the history. And so I think that the purpose of this statement is saying that this was a lot of struggle and sacrifice by the white colonists as well as other folks that were involved in that fight. And they were involved in the actual Revolutionary War piece of it as well. So that's my reading of it. I mean, there were, I think, like,
I know. I'm just saying it's different to take up arms and, because you want to and you want to rebel against the British versus somebody forces you to, take up arms or, like, sacrifice that you make voluntarily versus a sacrifice that you made against your will, I guess.
yep, I understand. Um, Counselor Ryan.
So yeah, I'm going to go back to what I said earlier. I think we shouldn't be making changes like this without consulting the sponsors. So I can't support this, and I won't vote for it. I think we should have the sponsors present, and they should make the decision on this, how they want to word it, and what their intent is. We are basically trying to read into it, and I'm not saying that the statement is historically inaccurate. It's not, but that's not the point here. This is not our, we need the sponsors to weigh in. So I can't support that change.
Which change?
He's talking about a
Yeah, and forcibly claiming ownership
oh, okay,
is
that
not what they wrote, and it may very well be what they intended, but I don't think it was. But they have to figure that out, and then they have to tell us, and then we have to
so
decide.
I mean, respectfully, George, we just asked Amber to stand for all of the sponsors in the last resolution. So I think Lynn is the sponsor on this, and I will defer, Lynn, to you in terms of whether this is something that you as a sponsor would like to make changes to, or whether you'd like to go back to the other sponsors.
I'll be glad to go back, but I'm perfectly comfortable with the changes.
Because I mean,
And I'm not because there are one,
but
two,
he's
three
comfortable
community
as
sponsors. I'm sorry?
yes, but Amber just did the exact same thing for the resolution she was a sponsor of. There were community sponsors on that too.
There was one community sponsor, and she was talking to her over the phone. So,
Okay.
I mean, I'm sorry. I
So
think we just right. Anyway,
I hear
that's all I
you.
have to say. So I'm done.
I hear what you're saying. I think that I'm gonna let Lynn determine whether or not she's comfortable moving forward with this or whether or not she wants to go back to consult the other sponsors. Um, I don't think that's necessarily on us to determine the level of other sponsor engagement. I think that's between the sponsors themselves. So unless there's proposed language changes here, um, I I don't know how to get all the way into it. And again, it's now quarter to 8. So I'm trying to think through what we need to do in this moment. Counselor Kind Martin, I agree with you that there's a lot more here that could be unpacked, and I don't know that right now is our job to do that.
I would suggest that we take a vote and on what we have here, and that if I have other changes I need to ask for, I'll bring them in as amendments at the council meeting.
Okay.
Before you take a vote, there's a few other lines that need
Yeah,
editing after the
absolutely.
number.
I was just about to say that this is the July 4th reading, so we could hypothetically take this up again at our next GOL meeting, getting it back to the council on the 29th, if we have a meeting the 29th, right?
I don't think there's going to be a meeting on the 29th, but that won't be decided.
We won't know until after Monday if there will be a meeting on the 29th, so
Okay.
it would be ideal if the committee could finish its review tonight, and then if there are amendments can be made.
So I'm going to move on for now.
Pam Rooney wrote it. I'm asking her if she can jump on GOL. Let's go on to something else and come back to this.
Okay, well, we got one more paragraph here. Now therefore, I adjusted it a little bit to fit the typical cadence. Now therefore, we, the Amherst Town Council, do hereby proclaim July 4th, 2026 to be the 250th anniversary of the independence of the United States of America. And in recognition of this 250th anniversary, that we, the Amherst Town Council, calls upon the residents. We typically break this up into two. Let me just do that. Be it further proclaimed. But in recognition, okay, of this 250th anniversary, that we, the Amherst Town Council, call upon the residents of Amherst to examine the meaning and application of the Declaration of Independence, both at that time and in today's world, and invite residents to join a celebration on July 4th, 2026, to be held on the front steps of Town Hall at 12:00 p.m. Okay. Then you want us to wait to
Pam has said she will join us, but she needs the link, and I have to send it to her. Okay. But go ahead to something else, and then we'll come back and vote.
All right. So, everybody take a second, shake it off. Okay. So it is 10 of 8, and we've gotten through 3 proclamations. Good job. We are going to go on, if you recall, last time we talked about the Resident Oversight Board. Sorry, I just noticed our number jump up.
I'm bringing in Pam in.
Pam is here, so I will get back to that in a second. All right.
Councilor Rooney, can you hear us? Yes, you're muted, but thank you.
I can.
Oh, how are you doing?
I'm well, thank you. This is a surprise.
Yeah. So we are talking through just one paragraph that we're a little stuck on in the proclamation, and so I wanted to check with you. We had added in a line, it's this paragraph right here. I'll make it a little bit bigger. This paragraph, we had added in the and forcibly claiming ownership of, just to kind of, make it clear what a little bit closer to what was really going on here. And then a lot of the discussion, the other part of the discussion, is around the framing, including African Americans. And I'm wondering if we could say both enslaved and free, if that would kind of get at it, just to kind of say, like, this wasn't a choice that that some folks had.
Yep.
I don't know. Councilor Kenna Martin, you had initially raised one of those concerns. Yeah. How does that read to you?
I actually had a number of I had a fairly lengthy proclamation, and it was suggested that it get pared down. So I'm very happy to add back some of the detail.
Pam, actually, it turns out Pam worked with the Historical Society on this.
Great.
And I'm sorry for the 18th century spelling.
We
It's okay.
saw that.
We confirmed that it was correct for its original quote. But that was I was like, this doesn't seem like anyone proofread. Okay. But it turns out that when I Googled it, many people had. All right. So Amber, sorry, did you have Counselor Cannon Martin, did you have any thoughts on this?
I don't feel comfortable being the only decider on this, but
You're definitely not.
You
I would
won't be.
I would vote yes that it's clear, concise, and actionable, and I would say we should revisit, when it comes to council, and we should get some feedback before that from community folks.
What do you think about specifically adding in this part to this paragraph here? Having it say both enslaved and free.
Yeah, I mean, I think it does add more
That
detail.
clarifies
And
it.
forcibly claiming ownership.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I think those are both helpful edits. I just would feel like it would be helpful to vet some of the language with others in the community. But I mean, I also understand it will come to the council, so there's time for that to happen.
Is there anything else you would change, Amber?
The two that bothered me. Oh, sorry, you said Amber, not Anna. My bad.
I don't care. Anybody.
Counselor Ryan.
So the current change reads altering and forcefully claiming ownership of the lands of Native Americans, comma, the economics of local business. And I don't understand what that has to do with the participles previous. I assume you're not saying altering and forcibly claiming ownership of the economics of local business. I assume originally it was altering the economics of local business. I'm not quite sure what that means either, but right now as it stands, the economics of local business doesn't seem to fit. So if somebody could sort that out, I would appreciate it.
Pam,
So I think that we could move altering to here.
yes.
And then if someone could explain what altering the economics of local business means.
The world was in turmoil. Businesses came and went and folded, and basically these folks were pledging their lives, their fortunes, and their honor, and they had no idea what the outcome would be and how it would impact their lives.
And also,
So maybe
Across
something
this.
like risking their lives and fortunes would make sense.
Well,
But
some of them
altering,
didn't, some
yeah.
of them did not risk their lives or fortunes, but they may have risked their fortunes. Yeah.
Anyway, the phrase itself, I find absolutely mysterious, but that's
the other
me.
piece that it did was seriously interrupt any international trade at that time because of the war as it was going on.
All right, folks,
Maybe it's
we're all gonna
altering-
go home and watch some Ken Burns, but we
Right.
really need to move past this.
Altering the economics of business. I don't think local needs to be there.
All right. I need a motion on this. We found the end of my rope on the proclamations tonight.
Amber, are you prepared to do the motion for clear, consistent, and actionable?
I'm happy to do it, and if someone will give me a second. I move to find the town of Amherst 250th celebration of the Declaration of Independence proclamation clear, consistent, and actionable. Is there a second?
Griesmer, second.
Great. I'm gonna go ahead and call the vote.
One point of order. Sorry.
Yeah. Nope, you're fine.
Council sponsor also included Andy Churchill.
Oh, thank you so much. Okay, as amended, Lynn, are you okay with that change?
Totally.
All right, thank you.
How come I'm last?
It's alphabetical.
It's interesting. It always has been alphabetical, even though
It always is
you were the one
alphabetical.
that was the leader on
I
it.
didn't know that.
Yeah, it's always alphabetical. All right. Calling the vote. Counselor Cannon Martin.
Yes.
Lynn.
Aye.
Counselor Ryan.
I'm abstaining.
Okay. Gotta make my report. Hang on. Counselor Lord.
Aye.
And I am an aye as well. Oh my God, my poor report today. All right. That is passes. 4 in favor, none opposed, 1 abstention.
Pam,
Okay.
thanks for jumping on.
Thank you so much, Pam.
Oh, you're
For
welcome. Thank you for discussing it.
yeah, of course.
It's, the irony is that the next day there'll be the public reading of Frederick Douglass. So
Mhm.
it's, this is not the be all to end all. This is just a
Yeah,
recognition. Um, there's a lot more in the box.
absolutely. All right. Thank you so much. You are free to enjoy the rest of your Tuesday.
Oh, I was listening to ZBA meetings.
We're way more fun than that. All right. Thank you.
Bye.
Folks, bye. We are going to GOL, we are moving on. So, Resident Oversight Board, if you recall a few weeks ago, or I missed the last meeting, but the meeting before that, our homework was to think about our questions that we have for the legal team, for the consultants, for the interested parties. So, I didn't receive any questions, so I would like to remind folks that that is our homework. We kind of need that in order to move forward. And I wanted to just talk through our plan of attack here. So my understanding is that we're going to come up with our list of questions that we have for KP Law, consultants. And when I emailed Paul asking about, can I reach out to the unions, etc., he said you can, but we recommend that you reach out to the consultants because they are the ones who kind of worked with the different parties versus necessarily just talking directly to other folks. I can find his exact wording. He didn't phrase it just like that. But to start with those, and we could also talk to we could also invite the chief in as well as other folks, but he recommended the consultants as the parties that are going to be the most kind of sitting in the middle and having talked to both groups already. So I'm happy to meet with whoever folks want to meet with, but we need to establish what questions we have. So are folks prepared to send me questions by Friday? Could we do that? Because if you can send me questions by Friday, I'll be able to organize them and invite folks. That gives me time to know kind of who I'm inviting and where we're at for our next meeting, and we can really hopefully dedicate that meeting to getting those questions answered and moving forward on this. Any comments that folks have? Because really, again, my understanding is that we needed more information about the implications of both options in order to make a confident recommendation back to the council. That's my recollection of where we are. Does anyone have a different recollection? Okay, so big homework assignment by Friday, please. I need, what questions would you ask to lawyers, to police officers, to community, I don't know, whoever you have questions for, tell me who it's for, tell me what the question is. Counselor Ryan, did you have a hand up? No, I answered it. All right. Anyone have anything else to say on this? Counselor Cannon Martin.
Yeah, so you're saying that those folks will be invited to the next GOL meeting?
If they can, yes, I will invite them to the next GOL meeting, so long as we have questions to ask them. I will provide them the questions in advance. It's not a guarantee that they can come, but I as much lead time as I can give them, I'd like to.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, I don't know that I have specific questions, but I think would we invite some members of the CSSJC, like a representative or two, to attend?
I want to look at whether that's the group that the consultants worked with. I don't have a problem with it, but I want to make sure that we're talking to the folks that were involved in the recommendation process, since those are the recommendations we're discussing.
Okay.
Counselor Ryan?
So,
Or sorry, Counselor Kenna Martin, did that answer your question?
Yeah, no, I mean, I would assume that they may be there anyway. I'm just wondering if, if we have a question of them or something, if they could be promoted to panelists to answer.
Yeah. So. Counselor Ryan?
so that we would also include the police union.
So I think that's why Paul was kind of recommending to start with the consultants, because we're going to end up with a really big meeting if we
Exactly.
reach out
And
to
how are you going to
everybody.
control that? Right. It's going to
I
become.
mean, I'm going to start yelling at people to raise their hands again, but But yeah, you're absolutely
Yeah,
right.
I raised my hand this time. Yeah,
You did. Thank you very much.
welcome.
But that's, I guess, to get to both your question and Amber's question, that's really why I'd prefer to start with the consultants and then branch from there, just because they spent so much time going through this. And they're the ones that kind of wrote that final report. So I would rather not start with a meeting that every interested body is in, because I
Right.
do worry about how unwieldy that's going to get. But I also think that if we have questions of those groups, we can send them in writing and get responses in writing and ask follow-up questions as needed. Lynn?
I think it would be important to also at some point look at the committee, both the original committee and how it morphed, because my understanding is some people walked out of the committee.
You're talking about the committee that worked with the consultants?
Yes, I am.
So Lynn, you're saying you'd like sort of a brief history of the process and of the committee itself.
Yeah.
That's a question you have. What was the history? What actually happened would be a question you would have you'd like answered.
I would. Let me just step back and say, because of the way the recommendation has now come to us, I hate to say this, but I feel like we're almost starting back at ground zero. And I just feel like if we're going to have to do that, then we need to hear from parties that were involved from the beginning and what their reservations were and why some people walked out of the room.
Yeah, if folks recall who were on council last term, I fought really hard against this getting referred to GOL in the state it was in because of exactly this.
And I totally understand why you did that. And as I've already said, I feel like we're starting from ground zero.
So I feel slightly vindicated in my dying on the hill of this is not ready to be referred, but that's fine. So I would like all your questions written to me. Lynn, if you can frame that in a question, that would be really helpful. And I will provide these questions ahead of time. I would really, Lynn, I understand where that feeling is coming from, that this is starting from scratch, and at the same time, we can't. I mean, like, this work has been done. We need to, I think, zoom out a little bit when we think about the recommendations, trusting those consultants to have done the research with this committee, and having talked to these different bodies. And what we need to, I guess this is my personal thought is that we don't need to do all of that work about the specifics. We need to think about the long-term implications of each of the options, right? Like we're zooming out a little bit because the zoom in work is there. We can ask some questions, but I would like us to try to figure out a way that we're not rehashing their entire process. And so I guess one of the prompts for you all to think about is, what is it that you need to hear from them in order to not feel like we need to rehash the whole thing? Like what feels unanswered that we can get answered versus needing to start from square one? Counselor Ryan?
So apropos of that, I know that when we first brought this, I don't know, I don't think I was the only one. I spent almost an hour and a half listening to the consultant's presentation.
Yep.
And my fear is that people are going to ask questions they've already answered, or they're simply going to point out to us that there's certain things they cannot resolve. They presented pros and cons. They didn't come down on one side or the other. They laid out, so as far as resolving, say, investigatory versus review, that's on us or
Yeah.
so I guess it's back to your point, to myself, but also to everyone else. What is it that you want to hear from the consultants that they haven't already given us in their oral testimony at some detail? Because I'm struggling to think what that would be. But you will get the questions and maybe you'll go, aha, that's definitely something the consultant didn't answer last time and now could answer. But on some of the major issues we've been already beginning to touch on, they quite understandably, did not say yay or nay. They said there's this and there's this, and here's something why this is, you could do it this way or you could do it this way, and that's where they left it. So, yeah, I hope we don't end up having them come or one of them come and we end up asking them questions they've already either answered or questions they can't answer because they're not things that they can resolve. We have to resolve them or make a decision.
Yeah, and you put that that prompt a bit more succinctly than I did, so thank you. Excuse me. I was up late last night. Lynn?
So, Councilor Ryan, um, maybe one of the things we all need to do is again review that tape and
Yes, please.
say, what do we think the consultants left us with? Because I may have one way I'm hearing it, you may have another way, Amber may have yet a different way. And yet, even though the consultants may have said whatever they said, we have at least one group who is saying that they clearly want one model over another. And yet, the group that is most impacted by this, my understanding, was not in the room for the vast majority of the meetings.
I'm sorry, Lynn, it's hard to hear you.
And it's because of my voice, because of my allergies.
I understand, but it's still hard to hear you.
They
So,
were,
yeah,
my understanding is the group that is most impacted
right.
by the the Resident Oversight Board was largely not in the room for the majority of
Okay.
the meetings.
Right. Okay.
And so I that's what makes me, and I totally agree with Anna. If I voted to refer this, I apologize.
Y'all owe me coffees.
Yeah, it just is making me feel like we have to go back and re-listen to a lot of stuff. And
Yes.
I'm even questioning if that's GOL's role. So there you go.
All right. And GOL may come out of this with a split recommendation. We don't know
Yes.
what's going to happen, but would like us to give something back to the council that is more than what they gave to us. I'd like to show that we've put some work in here. So, all right, what I'm hearing, and just to wrap it up, please re-review the presentation. It is very helpful. I'm wondering if we can have, I don't know if the slide deck alone is helpful or not, but the video itself is very helpful. It was a very thorough presentation. Thrilling movie night again on that one. And then you're going to send me your questions. Let's start with for the consultants. If you have questions for other bodies, include them, and I'll try to figure out how to sort through it. If you can try to send those by Friday, that would be the most helpful. Athena, can you and I touch base tomorrow or later this week on how to best reach those consultants and see if they're able to join us?
Yep.
Okay, thank you. Because I'm not sure where the road starts on that one. Am I missing anything that is our to-do list? If I don't hear from you all by Friday, I will reach out as a reminder, but if we don't have questions, then I'm not going to have them if we don't, it's got to be worth their time to join us at a meeting. So
Yes.
if we don't have questions, then I'm not going to kind of push them to come in. So I want to make sure we've got a robust set of questions that we can send them in advance, so that we're getting something out of this, that we can then use to have a fruitful discussion. And at the end of the day, I think sometimes it's hard for GOL. We spend so long in clarity, consistency, and actionability. Sometimes it's hard to get into the substantive stuff. And so this is where we're really just kind of a little bit of a mini council, right? This is not necessarily GOL doing something that's so specific to GOL. It's us as 5 counselors debating this just like we would in a council meeting, but hopefully more productively. So let's, not that we're not productive as a group of 13, but let's please send me your questions, re-review the tape, and send me your questions by Friday. I'll spend the weekend going through those, kind of trying to sort them out. And we will then go from there. Does that sound good? Is there anything that anyone would like to say about this topic before we move on somehow in 20 minutes? Okay.
Uh,
Yeah, go ahead.
I will almost certainly not be here on the 18th.
On the
Sorry.
8th,
That is our next meeting. Is that correct or am I wrong on that?
I think
I
we
hope
have a
I'm
meeting
wrong.
on the 23rd, don't we?
Okay, good. I hope I'm wrong then. So our next
I have
meeting
us,
is,
I have us meeting on the 23rd.
this is June 23.
Correct.
That is a Tuesday, and that is fine. Thank you very much. Sorry about
Perfect.
that.
You're fine. And then well, one of the other topics, oh, page is unresponsive, is that I am not here on the 14th of July, which I think would be our next meeting after that. So I don't know. I'm jumping ahead to other items. This is, I guess, unanticipated upcoming meetings, but Counselor Canna Martin, just to see if you are here, confirming you are here on the 14th.
Let me just reconfirm by looking at my calendar again, but I don't think I have anything scheduled that would stop me from being here.
Perfect. And there's a chance I may not be able to be here on the 28th too. So I apologize. Summer plans are hard to navigate with committee.
Yeah, let me reconfirm that because I will be on a trip and I just want to make sure I'm not on an evening meeting because I'll be on the West Coast.
Okay.
And I
So
don't
we'll
think
touch
you
base.
have I don't think you have a meeting scheduled on the 28th.
Oh, thank goodness. Okay.
Thank you.
Give a break.
Ah, wow. All right. My SharePoint just stopped showing me things, so I gotta try to load stuff up again. But all right. So with that, you all have your marching orders. Are there any questions about your homework assignments? Just making sure. Okay, so by Friday I'll get emails from everyone. Okay, folks, we've got 15 minutes remaining in our meeting. You all had a meeting without me. I'm sure it was even more productive than when I'm here. And you talked about the Charter Review Committee recommendations. Is that right? I guess I am happy to turn this. We've got a quick time for discussion on this over to Counselor Kenna Martin, who is leading that discussion, since I don't know where we are and you don't need to waste time catching me up. I will figure it out as we go. But if we were to spend, we've got 15 minutes on that. Does that sound okay? Folks? Okay, Counselor Kenna Martin, can I turn it over to you? And I'm happy to still share my screen if you want, or you can, it doesn't matter.
Yes. Okay. So at our last meeting, I don't know if this was the Excel document was in the packet or not.
It is, yes.
Okay. So I can just sort of remind us what we talked about last time and then make a suggestion of where we could go. So the ones that we that are highlighted were ones that talking to Athena that we thought would be there's already some agreement about what to do with it so that we could make a decision quicker. So on term limits, I know that we had talked about Athena potentially having some language ready for a council rule on term limits. Athena, I don't know if that was able to be done for this meeting or not.
No, I don't have, I am working on term limit, language for a rule change on term limits. And that one came to GOL as a rule change specifically. And then the other one was, the suggestion about announcing the number of people in the room for hybrid meetings. And I had some other hybrid slash remote meeting rule suggestions. So I'm going to bring those to a future meeting.
Okay, great. Thank you. So yeah, that's where we stand with the term limits one. And then just to move on to the next highlighted one, as Athena said, she was going to bring some language along with some other hybrid meeting rules to our next meeting. And then so in terms of inserting a new section in the town manager responsibilities related to town government communications, I think this is the one that we voted. Am I right? Please correct me if I'm wrong. Yes, we voted that one. So we were in favor of the change to the charter as written. And then the public dialogue option, we also voted on that one. And I didn't write it here, but it's in the report from the last meeting. So that leaves us with a lot of possibilities of where we could go next. I don't know, Anna, if you have a preference, or Athena, if you want to recommend another one to us that seemed to have a lot of agreement, but that's what we did last time.
I Athena, I'm happy to defer to you. I don't have any specific ones that I'm yearning for.
Um, Personally, I would really love to deal with the public forum thing. We just encountered that at a recent meeting, and it's one that we have to deal with all the time. Um,
Yeah. Is that number 16?
oh wait, this isn't
I think
oh, that's a different public forum thing. I'm sorry.
think about public dialogue.
No, this committee voted on the public
Oh,
dialogue.
okay. All right.
Yeah, we haven't
This is
voted on.
the time rule,
Yeah, that's not the
right.
time rule, it's a different
We have to
public
sit
forum.
there in silence for X number of minutes.
Is it this one? It's number 14. That's the public forum. And it says allowing it, making the wording less cumbersome and allowing full public input without a rigid time limit.
Yes.
Okay. Um, so this is the language here that is recommended, I think,
It's larger.
where it says public forum, and then the recommendation is that it be a charter change. This is the legal opinion right here, and then 6 counselors were leaning towards supporting the proposal, 3 counselors leaning towards support proposal, and what is the
Rules of procedure, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Um, it's not, according to the legal opinion, it is not a major amendment. Um,
So is anyone in this? Oh, sorry. I'm sorry, Amber. I'll let you.
oh no, go ahead.
Um, I'm curious if any members of GLL were on. I was in the side of just make the change. Does anyone here have insights as to why rules of procedure versus charter for this one? Athena?
So the language here is confusing to me, so I'm trying to find the recommendation. My recollection, this recommendation is to address the length of the public forum where the council has to hold the public forum for at least half the meeting time as public comment. And that can't be changed in a rule. It has to be changed in the charter because it's a charter requirement to hold that open. But the language isn't just to take out the time requirement. It's much
More
more.
elaborate, yeah.
There's much more in the language change than just the requirement about the more than 50%.
Yeah, this is, I think this is the language over here in column C.
Could you make it larger, please?
Yes, I will try. I know it's really tiny. Is that better?
That's better. Thank you.
So the charter review committee, rather than just striking the length requirement, decided to add this language, the agenda and format shall be determined by the town council and so forth. And the town attorney had some problems with that language. So, I mean, in my mind, the thing that the charter review committee was trying to address was the time limit, which they themselves encountered during their required public forum. And I would have to look back at the report to remember why they decided to add this language that is legally problematic.
And what makes it legally problematic? And maybe that's why we need to come back to this at another meeting.
So, and you'll
Yeah,
see
go
it
ahead.
here in this next box
I know,
where,
but it's,
Yeah, it's this
Yeah,
box
so-
here, right? Yeah.
and it's because, it's the town council, the agenda and format to be determined by the town council. It adds a lot of, like, the charter is very clear in that the town council agendas are set by the president. And so this adds an element that isn't present in other areas of the charter that is ambiguous and raises legal questions. So in my mind, an easy change that fixes the problem that the Charter Review Committee was trying to address is just to remove the time limit. And I'd have to look back at their rationale to see why they decided to add this extra language.
Yeah, I would like to look back at the Charter Review Committee report and also what the charter currently says, because now I'm getting confused.
So we have some homework to do on this one. We can't really resolve it now, which is fine, but it's probably one that we could take up soon, if not at the next meeting.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
hopefully, yes, because it doesn't seem like there's a
We
lot
require that much, hopefully not that much work. Are there
Yeah.
any others like that? I guess is the next question.
So I'm sorry to interrupt again. I'm looking at the report and it doesn't give much more rationale than than
Right
what
here.
I put into this
Okay.
form. It just says clarifies public forum definition, make wording less cumbersome, allow full public input without rigid percentage of time.
Well, it does say the public shall be given 14 days notice of the date and time, and then it says here that one of the concerns was it doesn't include the manner in which the notice will be provided. Can we just put
Right.
that?
So,
Yeah.
oh, I'm sorry for interrupting. The charter has has notice requirements for specific forums. So in different sections. So the section that this one is addressing, it's the definition of a public forum, but then in different sections in the charter, like the action on the budget, there's a requirement that the town manager post the, simultaneously post the budget and deliver it to the town council, and it's very specific. So it's specific in the sections where and when things must be posted. It's specific in the sections, in the further sections where and when bylaw changes must be posted, and so on. So adding this alert to the public in the definition, it confuses those other sections
Okay.
in my mind, because there are notice periods in the different sections that might conflict with this. Like there's a 10-day notice period for some things. There's notice periods of, for example, the water and sewer rates that the council is voting on Monday. There's different notice periods for those. There's different notice periods for the budget and for the public hearing on the finance committee's public hearings and so on. So adding a notice period and place in the definition could create a conflict in the subsequent charter sections.
Could we say giving the notice as specified by the charter, depending on the topic of the public forum?
It doesn't even need to, you don't even need to say that because it's
Yeah.
covered in those further sections.
Okay.
So in those subsequent sections, like in 5.5, I think C, action on the budget, it says exactly where it has to say. So you don't have to say it again in the public forum definition. In my mind, the thing that the Charter Review Committee was trying to address was time limit. And it's an easy change to just snip the time limit out.
Right. And that language here already does that, is my assumption, right?
This language does more than that.
Yeah.
It removes it and adds this confusing business.
Okay.
So if we were to look, yeah, sorry.
Oh, go ahead, Councilor Ryan.
I'm sorry, I raised my hand, but if we were to look at the original language with that snipped out,
Right now, the charter reads public forum. The phrase public forum shall mean a
Mhm.
meeting during which more than one half of the meeting time on the agenda is devoted to public comment. That's it.
that's it. And you might
And
say,
it's in those subsequent sections of the charter that require public forums and require notice periods for the public forums and are for the specific purposes in the subsequent sections. So this is like doing more than it really needs to.
if we just deleted that, just took the whole thing out, would that be a problem? So public forum just wouldn't be there? It has to be defined? Is that the problem? There has to be a definition of it? It's one sentence, right? It's basically one sentence.
It exists now as one sentence in
And
the
if we-
definitions.
Right. And could we just remove it from definitions and not define it?
You could say that the phrase public forum shall oh, it doesn't define public hearing. You could snip it in my mind. I mean, I'm not a lawyer, but
Right.
pending legal review, you could take it out.
Hmm.
And I think from my recollection, the intent of the charter, the original charter commission that wrote this charter was that they wanted, some meeting time dedicated solely and not buried into an agenda, these public forums where people are alerted to the fact that the council is doing something, something is happening, and we want to make sure that the council has an opportunity to hear public comment on this specific topic and not, something is on an agenda and it's just buried into other council actions. So calling it out specifically as a public forum.
Hmm.
So you could ask about taking it out altogether, but I think that
So we need a definition of a public forum that doesn't have a time stamp in it. Or we need to just take it out. And okay. Okay.
so there's a few different options. You could take it out. You could take out the 1/2 of the meeting time requirement and just a meeting that is devoted to public comment and leave it a little bit vague about how much presentation time we do versus public comment time.
Mm-hmm.
There's also the issue in the past of, we have to generate separate agendas and meeting notices and so forth for public forums rather than including them in the agenda like a hearing does. So you have options. You could treat it like a hearing, and define a hearing instead, as a special part of the agenda and then codify that in the rules. You have multiple ways of taking this up.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just noting the time, 8:28. So maybe this is some food for thought for the
Yeah,
next
let
discussion.
me take this down so we can.
Athena, that was really helpful. I think I know there are some inefficiencies that I would like to see us do away with. Like I don't know that 2 agendas is helpful. I certainly would like to get rid of the time limit thing. So I think it's almost like we have a menu of kind of where do we want to go with this, and if we can choose the options, then we'll end up with a whole new charter provision. Or rules thing. Sorry, I don't mean to assume the direction. All right, it is 8:28. This was a lot of thinking in this meeting, so we are going to take one last motion, which is to approve the minutes of all my stuff closed. There we go. Approve. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of May 26th, 2026? I think they
So
were in the.
moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Excellent. I'm going to call the vote. Let's start with Counselor Ryan.
Aye.
Lynn Griesmer,
Aye.
Counselor Kenna Martin,
Aye.
Counselor Lord,
Aye.
and I am an aye as well. All right, thank you all. With that, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Is there a second? No
Second.
second? Okay, thank you. I was like, we can stay, I
I've
guess.
been enjoying this. I would love to stay for another hour. So
I
I'm
know.
not going to second.
All right. Okay,
But I
got it.
will vote to adjourn.
I'm gonna get there. I was just about to make a joke. I was like, George, I'm working in town right now. I'll come bring over the ROB proposals. We can talk more.
We can work
All
some
right.
more. Thank you.
So I'm gonna call the vote. Counselor Kenna Martin,
Aye.
Counselor Lord,
Aye.
Lynn Griesmer,
Aye.
Counselor Ryan,
Aye.
and I am an aye as well. We are adjourned at 8:30 p.m. Thank you all so much. Send me your questions by Friday, or I will hunt you down. All right. Have a good night, everybody.
Good night.